Hello guys, in today's video I've got another fellow content creator, Dornie from Dornie F1
Dornie.
F1 Dornie. So do you want to introduce yourself for those of you who don't know who you are?
So my name is Dornie over at F1 Dornie, and I'm another content creator like Raz. So Raz does big interviews with people. I tend to just talk on my own and do some race reviews and talk with other content creators and just make some videos, which you hopefully enjoy. But yeah, I don't interview the big stars like Raz does over on my channel.
Well, I tell you that was just luck. That was unplanned. But what do you think about the season so far?
Yeah, I think it's definitely been a bit of a weird season. But I think it's been so much. We've had so many more races than we kind of expected, which I think is nice. And there's been those additions to the calendar, and it's kind of given us the opportunity to get races back that we didn't think we'd have, like Imola and Mugello and Turkey. So that'll be really nice. But yeah, I think the season so far has been okay. The Mercedes or one of them is very far in front of the rest. But it was to be expected. Lewis Hamilton is unreal.
The greatest.
Yes.
Definitely.
Well,
yeah, I mean, I think the season is already. He's already won it. Yeah. That's what I think. But given that you did a law degree, I would love to know your opinion about the whole Sergio Perez and the whole Vettel saga. Him potentially joining Racing Point, because I don't quite understand how that they can do that legally.
So legally they can do it. So Perez has another 1 year on his contract with Racing Point. However, there is always the option to kind of get out of a contract on both sides. So they could buy Perez out, so they'd essentially just pay him however much. There'll be an agreed amount, or they'd agree an amount to kind of buy him out of that contract and tell him to go away. And obviously that team seem to have a lot of money at the minute, so it might be a possibility. However, I am hopeful that Perez doesn't get bought out of his contract, because I just think it's a bit of a shame. It's not really how you want to play the game. Like, I don't think it's very sportsmanly, or kind of doesn't have much respect if you just kind of start buying people out of contracts.
Yeah, especially now, because he was involved in saving the team in the first place. And to be honest with you, I mean, I thought you always needed a reason to get rid of somebody in there, but in Formula One, apparently you don't need a reason, do you? So,
well, not always. It depends how good the lawyers on each side are. But unfortunately, money does sometimes trump. But we don't know what Perez's contract's like. We don't know what it says. So fingers crossed for him.
Yeah, I mean, but I want to get into, like, how did you get into Formula One?
So I have kind of liked Formula One on and off all my life. It was the sport that would be on at the weekend. My family aren't into kind of football or rugby or anything, if there was sport on in the house, it would be Formula 1 or snooker. And Formula 1's a bit more exciting than snooker, I would say. So yeah, I just have watched it all my life, on and off, and just really enjoy it.
So yeah, so when did you decide, or what made you decide to get a YouTube channel going?
Well, we were all in lockdown, and I, like most people, were getting a bit bored with doing nothing all day, because I wasn't in uni anymore and there was only so many walks I could go on. So I thought, what can I do? What can I do to kind of fill up my day, learn something new, and kind of meet some new people as well. So I thought I'd start a YouTube channel about Formula 1. It did kind of start off as a blog or just chatting with some people, and then discovered that I quite liked having a YouTube channel, and obviously get to meet so many lovely people like yourself, like others in the content community. So yeah, I've actually really enjoyed it, and it was a good decision.
Yeah, you're doing a great job, by the way. You know, if you haven't already, do check out Dornie's channel. I leave a link in the corner. Just click on the eye, and then you get a link. I leave a link there. But you know, in your opinion, who is the greatest driver of all times?
Oh, I hate questions like this. I think it is so difficult to compare across generations, because the sport is no longer the same as it was 50 years ago or 30 years ago or 20 years ago. And I definitely think that Lewis Hamilton is amazing. He is the greatest of this generation, and he is like absolutely rocking it right now. But obviously there was Senna, there's Prost, there's Sterling Moss, Fangio. They are all great in their own respect, and I don't think you can compare. It's so difficult, just because the technology and what goes into it is different as well. And I think it's, I don't know. Do you think that you have a greatest? Do you think one stands out?
Well, I'm a massive Michael Schumacher fan. But you know, I think one can't argue with what Lewis Hamilton is doing. Having said that, I don't think, as you said, you know, you can't really compare. You know, you can't really compare like over the generations. So I don't think there is a greatest of all time, other than statistically. But then again, in Senna's era, when he was driving, there was only 16 Grand Prix. You know, we had only 10 points for win. So you can't, you know, now we've got like 20 odd races and 25 points for win. So you can't really compare it. But what do you think? Like, what do you make about the season? Like, so far, do you think it's gonna be exciting, or do you think it's a foregone conclusion? Like,
it's not. I don't think it's going to be a season to remember in terms of the racing and the competition. I think if Max Verstappen hadn't had a failure at that first race, it might have been a bit more exciting. And if Red Bull were able to just be that tiny bit better to keep that pressure on, I think it could have been, or it might be, a good season, and Max could have been pushing Lewis Hamilton a bit more. But I think the way it's turning out, Lewis is just so much further ahead of everyone with that Mercedes. And I hate to say it, because I want Valtteri to be able to put up a fight, but he can't, and we need Valtteri just doesn't kind of do himself any favours, I don't think, and it's just upsetting to see, because we've had the likes of Nico Rosberg and Hamilton fighting at Mercedes, and we can see that there can be a competition between them, but there's no comparison with Valtteri and Lewis.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, I've actually, I've actually called Valtteri Bottas Lewis Hamilton's water boy, because he hasn't got anything to challenge him with, and I think he's too soft.
Yeah.
But given Ferrari's current form, do you think Carlos Sainz is regretting his signature?
I know. Well, who would have thought that Ferrari would have been this terrible? I don't know. I think when you're little, and every driver when they're little, I'm sure dreams of driving for Ferrari. I'm sure, like, it's a dream. It is. And I'm sure there will be an element of Carlos who is like so happy that he's kind of achieved that dream. He's got to the top of Formula One, the best team within Formula One. However, they are not the best team at the minute this year. And I think he will be a bit kind of wary of that, and a bit not annoyed, but I think there's no point kind of looking back and regretting it and being like, oh, I wish I hadn't made that decision, because you never know. Maybe in 2 years' time, maybe they are back up the top. Maybe they've got that long-term plan.
There's no way.
There's no way. Maybe. But also, if he hadn't moved and they had got back up at the top, or they do get back up to the top, he'll just be looking at the other way. So I think you've just got to make a decision and then cross your fingers and hope for the best and try and make that work, because there's no point looking and going, oh, if I hadn't done this, I wish I hadn't done this, or something.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think about Nico Hulkenberg's performance in the 70th anniversary Grand Prix?
Well, I think everyone knows that I'm a bit of a Nico Hulkenberg fan, and I would quite happily see him back on the grid. I think he did so well at that race. Obviously, the first weekend didn't quite go to plan, but even to fly in with 24 hours notice, or not even 24 hours notice, and get back into that car, and he was on the pace. And then the second weekend, him getting up into third place on qualifying was just, I was shouting, screaming, very excited. The race, I think he did about as good as he could have. As much as I would have loved for him to get a podium, it wasn't realistic. And I definitely do think he did so well. And I have my fingers crossed for him coming back next year. But I think Haas is maybe the most likely at the minute for him to get a seat.
Yeah, I mean, I was just amazed that they managed to do it, because I've got no idea about the legal side of things, but like, obviously, did he actually have to sign the contract or what? Because I mean, they couldn't have done much negotiation, could they?
No, I don't think they could have. So yeah, he would have had to get a contract signed. He would have had to sign a employment contract. There would have been I'm sure there would have been an insurance kind of side of that, health and safety, all that kind of elements. He also had to get a super license. So I think it was a long night for a lot of people, trying to get everything signed and sorted and agreed. But no, I don't think there would have been too much negotiating or too much time for negotiations.
Because, like, honestly, it's like, obviously, do you think the teams have got like a standard contract for these situations, or like?
Well, I don't know. It's not really a standard situation, is it? I don't know. I think there probably would, or for most contracts, there's kind of a first level draft contract, and then from there you would start amending it, and you'd go through a couple of variations and amendments of that kind of basic contract. So they weren't kind of starting with a blank page and going through and writing however many pages. There would have been kind of all the headings and everything kind of already vaguely there, and then they would have talked through, or Nico would have kind of had his advisor or whoever, kind of his manager, kind of go through it and agree with it.
Yeah, I mean, how can you do that in 24 hours though? Like,
well, they managed.
So you think he's going to come back in a Haas?
Well, I don't know. I think it's maybe the one that's most likely. There's not too many spaces on the grid, I don't think. I don't think there's space at Racing Point for him as much as I'd like there to be. And then I think Alfa Romeo is probably going to have some of the junior drivers. So I'm thinking it might be Roman out, Hulken. But what do you think?
Yes, I agree with you. In fact, I've done a video about that.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you saw it, but
yeah.
You know, I mean, people are accusing me of being, or people are not. I mean, obviously not accusing me, but people are sort of saying like I'm a Nico Hulkenberg fan, but I'm sort of not. But I just want him to be on the grid again, because I think it was unfair the way Renault ousted him, because he spent so much time with them. I mean, and then it almost went sour with Daniel Ricciardo and Cyril a bit. But I actually made a prediction that they're gonna part ways before the end of the season. But you know, given his performance last weekend, now I think that's not gonna happen now. But you know, it's, you know, at the end of the day, I'm just happy that we've got a Formula One season. I mean, the whole. What do you think about the whole pink Mercedes sort of saga?
Well, I'm not very good at the technical side of things, and to be fair, the Mercedes looks like the William, which looks like the Red Bull to me. So I'm not very good at the details. However, I don't know. I can see it from both sides. I think Racing Point did take that risk. And obviously the legality of it is a bit up in the air, because the kind of overall idea was held to be fine, but certain parts like the brake ducts were held to be illegal, and then it's unsportsmanly. So I think it's a very grey area, and I think it's hard to judge, but I don't actually think my sunlight is so bright right now. I don't actually think that it's paying off. Like, the car isn't as good as it was kind of built up to be, and I think it's starting to fall off now. I think this weekend we definitely seen or expected a lot more from it. and it just didn't really deliver how the kind of expectations. I think a lot of people thought that Racing Point would be a lot better at Spa.
Yeah, I just think that the whole issue is a bit like, first of all, I think they didn't do, Racing Point didn't do anything wrong, because at the end of the day they had the FIA there in the factory, and the FIA didn't say anything. They knew what they was doing. So, you know, I would even go as far as saying, does that mean the FIA doesn't know what they're doing? It's like, as I said, like if you know. So I think the whole protest thing is a bit more, is a bit more, you know, it's a bit pointless, really. You know, especially because now the current climate, we are in a recession. So I mean, I was worried that we're gonna not even have a Formula One season, and if customer cars are the way to go, then to save the sport, then so be it.
Yeah, I think obviously there was kind of the concerns with McLaren as well at the start of the season, and then Williams. So it's obviously costs so much to kind of make a Formula One car and put out a Formula One season. And I think I'm not very good, I've said, I'm not very good with kind of how it all works behind the scenes. Obviously there is the kind of A teams and the B teams, and people buy parts off each other. And I think the sport does need to adapt, and it needs to be conscious of the fact that we are in a recession, like you said, and they need to make sure that the sport is accessible and people can enter it and isn't too exclusive and doesn't kind of keep kind of the old-fashioned way if the old-fashioned way is too expensive. So this is why I think things like the budget cap will be quite helpful in keeping the sport alive and accessible. I don't think that the budget cap is going to solve all of the problems. I think a lot of people are kind of just saying, oh, we've got all these problems. Oh, but just wait until 2022 in the budget cap and it'll fix everything, which I don't think it will at all. But I think it will help a little bit and be kind of those first steps to making it better.
Yeah, I mean, you know, because I don't know whether you know, but I'm also a massive Williams fan. I'm not too keen on the. I'm not too happy with the sale to Dorrington Capital. I'm not too happy with that because I think the family should have kept it as a family business, even though Claire has recently announced, apparently, at least saw that in Formula World, that for the time being, that Claire is still going to be the team principal. But if I would have been Williams, I would have sort of got my lawyers on the case and see whether I could get anything out of take legal action against Rocket, because apparently they are becoming sponsors of the Mercedes team next season. So, you know, I would have I would have tried every everything I can to keep it as a family business.
Yeah, I think definitely, and I think everyone was kind of sad and upset when we heard about the Williams sale, but I think you need to also look at it from the other side, and I think they have been trying. Williams have been struggling for years. Like, it's not just a sudden decision, and I think they have tried for the past 3-4 years to find the funds. They've got the kind of Latifi's, the what's his name last year, Robert Kubica. They've got the kind of big money people in, and they've tried to make it work themselves. So I think you've got to kind of look at it as well from the point of view of, if they had stayed family owned and they had kept trying to make it work, how much longer could they have survived for? Because they would have just kind of slowly, we'll sell that off here, and it would have just slowly kind of all fallen apart. Whereas with the sale, they've managed to keep everything together. They've sold it as a going concern, so it's still the same team. It's still all together. Yes, there's going to be change, but they've not kind of ripped the team apart, and people haven't come in as like vultures almost and stolen different parts of it. So I think it is upsetting, but if you look at kind of from the other side, I do think it was a sensible decision. And at the minute, Claire is still involved, and it does still seem like the family are still part of that team. But obviously we don't know how long that's going to last.
I hope it's going to last for a very long time, because, as I said, I've been there. I actually was at the factory, didn't actually get to meet Claire in person, but you know, because when I started, because I've always wanted to combine my translation business, because I do German translations as well. Even though I've got to say that YouTube is sort of taking the majority of my time now. I did actually write to Claire and asked her how I can combine my love for Formula One and obviously my translation business. And she actually wrote me a nice letter back, which I still got on the wall now. You know, and she actually invited me to go to the factory. So on the 30th of October 2013, I went to the factory, which I will never forget that day. So, you know, that, you know, and I will always support Williams, and I've actually wrote her another letter to try and get her to do a video for this show with me. So unfortunately, I haven't had any responses yet, but I'm trying to sort of you know, I'm trying my best to sort of get there, and you know, hopefully that can happen. But well, how did you come across my channel?
It was just in the community, just seeing you on Twitter, and then obviously we got put in a little group chat together and we're chatting away. And then just found, or then went onto your videos and started watching them. But I honestly love them all, and your chats with people, you get on such good people to talk with or talk to. And I really hope that you are able to get more people like Claire and kind of other big names within Formula One on, because it's so interesting as well. And just hearing just people chat away. I love the idea of the unplanned chat because you never know what you're going to end up speaking about, and it's so interesting kind of just hearing people talk.
You know, and I actually had a little, on my birthday, I actually did a recording on my birthday with F1 Fanatics, with Mike from F1 Fanatics, because he called it the planned chat, F1 chat, and because to be honest with you, the people that I had on, the celebs, I still can't believe that I got them on. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. But good work. All your hard work paid off.
So, which one did you enjoy? Which one did you think was my best celebrity guest so far?
Oh, I don't want to pick. Jess McFadden, I think is such a lovely person, and I've spoke with her a bit, and I really liked her interview with you. And then obviously Matty and Tommy you've done as well. Got the crew on, and who else have you had? You've had Will Buxton. I think just they're all so different and all so interesting. Like everyone who kind of likes F1 or works within motorsport, you still can find so many different things to talk about, and each one of them is so interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'll let you into a bit of a secret. Actually, I have actually contacted or tried to contact Nico Hulkenberg's management actually, and you know, try and get something organized there. I mean, I haven't had any responses yet, but I'm still working on it. You see.
Well, I'll join you for that talk. You let me know when that is, and I'll join it. We can do a group chat.
I tell you, because I tell you, because I never thought that I was ever that it was ever gonna end up like this, and it was never planned like this. You know, I never thought I would have Will Buxton on or Natalie Pinkham or and it's kind of surreal still, and the fact that I'm actually writing to drivers managers and management companies and PR companies to try and get them on is just unreal. So what do you think about that then?
No, I think the best things in life sometimes are the things that you never expect, and the things that kind of catch you guard and you're like, oh my goodness, how did this happen? And I think you are doing so well, and honestly keep it up and keep annoying people on Twitter and going, can you come on for a chat? Because the interviews are so like authentic and lovely, and just like natural, because sometimes the interviews are very, you know what the interview is going to say before you watch it, for some people, whereas yours, you can talk about anything, which I really like. So definitely keep trying and keep believing, because if you don't try, you'll never know.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, I'm in the process of actually building my own studio space. Like, I don't know if you can see in the corner, the lights have gone up already. I'm currently waiting on the new desk. You know, I've actually started a little GoFundMe campaign, sort of to how, you know, because people have been asking me to do it, like how they can support it. So, you know, so not that I've been asking for it, but I've started one up anyway, just so because people have been asking for it. I'll leave a link in the description down below. But the final question, that one from you: have you ever been to a Grand Prix before?
I've not. I really want to go, but I live all the way up in Scotland, up at the top of the country, and it's just never worked out, or I've been busy, and I think I would love to go, and I'm definitely going to go to one in the future. But it's just not happened yet, and I enjoy watching them on TV, so I think that's a lot cheaper. But I'm going to hopefully get to Silverstone next year with a couple other content creators that I've met. I think part of the reason I've not been is just because I've not had someone to go with who's been as passionate about it. So I've now met some people, so I think we're going to all try and meet up next year at Silverstone, which will be lovely.
Yeah, and I mean, I can't travel that easily, but when lockdown is over, you can always, we've got to meet up in Stafford or something, so let me know if you wanted to queue up for that meeting up in Stafford or whatever, if you're ever down there. So, have you got any more questions for me?
No, I don't think so. You're in charge of chatting. No, just it's been a really lovely chat, and we should have chatted sooner or in person sooner. But yeah, just keep up, and I can't wait for you to have your little studio sorted out. That'll be lovely.
Yes, I mean, I never expected that I'm going to do that. Actually, you know, it started off it started off back in 2016 because I had labyrinthitis, and then I had panic attacks, and then I didn't speak for almost 3 weeks. The doctor said to me, "Raz, you can understand me," but I didn't even speak to him, even though I've known him for like 15 years. And then he said, "Get yourself a camera, get yourself in front of it." So I decided, and he said, "Talk about Formula One," and that's sort of what got me back speaking. And you know, I thought, you know, if I'm going to do it, I might as well do it properly and put it on YouTube. So I haven't reached the 1,000 subscriber mark yet, but I'm working towards it, and I'm hoping that my videos are interesting for people. Yeah. So if you haven't already, do please subscribe to both of our channels. And yeah, it's been lovely to speak to you, Dornie.
No, it's been lovely. Thank you so much for inviting me on.
No problem, anytime. And if you ever want me on your channel, let me know.
Yeah, definitely.
I know you've done a couple of. I know you've done you've done a couple of collaborations with Will already.
Yeah.
And then let me know, and next time we might all three of us might do one.
Yeah, that'd be nice. We'll get that sorted.
All right then, Dornie. Speak to you
Thank
later.
you.
And don't forget to share this video when it goes live. All right.
Will do.
Thank you, darling.
Thank you. Have a lovely day.
I will do. Bye.
Bye.